All right, you guys, so today we're going to talk about a sequence that's present in the Barbie movie, and let's decipher it together. Now, the sequence in its entirety is BQ0678, but using Demetra's number system, we remove letters, we remove spaces. So this is essentially going to become 0678. But I want to take it down a step so that I can completely illustrate for you guys the process, okay? So using my number system, if there is an even number of digits in a sequence, you decipher 2 digits at a time. So that's going to give us 615, essentially. So I want to start on that level, and then we'll up it to get additional clarity or additional information using the 0678. Now, when we talk about 615, now we have a sequence that has an odd number of digits. So using Demetra's number system, we isolate the initial digit to give us an understanding of the focus of the remaining sequence. So the focus of the sequence is 6, okay? And then we decipher the remaining digits, 15, separately. So when we talk about 6, this number is representative of the human experience in general and everything that means, okay? Working, hobbies, having children, establishing a family, your day-to-day, everything that's involved in your day-to-day, right? So when we talk about 60, for example, we're talking about typically a profound manifestation in the realm of 6. So maybe buying a new home, getting a new job, having a child, things like that. So that's what 6 represents, the human experience. Next, we're going to decipher the 15. So when we talk about 15, we're talking about a being because of 1, navigating the realm of 5 because of 5, regarding day-to-day matters, regarding diurnal matters, regarding the human experience. So when we talk about 5, we're talking about the number of internal or external discomfort. We're talking about the karmic number. We're talking about the ego, okay? And this is perfect because this movie illustrates a being in 13 frequency. So this movie is also a perfect representation of the ascension process, or the realms a being has to be able to travel through to reach higher heights. Okay, ascension is not comfortable. Ascension requires traveling through darkness, traveling through discomfort. And 13 frequency does not come with the same level of discomfort. Okay, it doesn't come with the same level of awareness. Okay, when we talk about awareness, that's essentially gained in 14 frequency. That's the number of awareness, right? So it's a great example of this movie because you're able to see that process. You're able to see the discomfort that comes with that growth, right? But also the benefits of it and the fact that you have to travel through that discomfort, gain that awareness, experience that opposition, right? Or that upset, right? In your world, to be able to truly reestablish that peace and order on the other side. You have to experience the opposition. Otherwise, that 8 energy cannot be experienced fully, okay? Or appreciated or recognized properly, okay? Anyway, let's get back into it. So when we're talking about 15 and how it relates to this movie, as soon as things start going wrong for Barbie, we're talking about ego introduction. We're talking about awareness being gained of differences. We're talking about awareness being gained of imperfections. Okay, the part of the psyche that is programmed by certain experiences and causes self-consciousness and causes discomfort, right? In addition to the other layers of 5, which include things like traumas, right? Or illness, things like that, right? It's a different energy than 7, but they work hand in hand. When we talk about 7, we're talking about the darkness that falls because of that trauma and the coping skills, the unhealthy coping mechanisms someone might take on in order to try and balance that discomfort. So addiction, for example, okay? Or just other behaviors that are unhealthy, okay? And the total of this shortened sequence, so 6, 1, and 5, totals 12, the number of instability, relational instability, right? So she's no longer in that 13 frequency where everything is hunky-dory. She's now descended to a space of instability, right? And the sequence also talks about discomfort, okay? And the discomfort associated with the human experience, not the doll experience, hence the sequence being led by 6, okay? Now, let's up-level this. Let's go back into the entire sequence, which is going to be 0678. I'm looking down because I have it written down, okay? Anytime, and like I said, we're doing it 2 digits at a time because there are 4 digits in this sequence. Anytime you have a number following a 0, what we're talking about here is a spirit's reason for dissension, either in general, in this incarnation, or during a specific spiritual cycle. And this is pretty damn perfect, right? I find so much joy, and I'm not trying to sound haughty or arrogant, but I'm also entitled to feeling proud of what I've created, and I very much so am. Every time something works perfectly, all right, I get excited about it. And that's this case. So when we talk about 06, what this describes is Barbie's reason for dissension in the spiritual cycle is to have to experience the human experience, right? The weird Barbie instructs her, you have to go to the human world. You have to experience what humanity experiences. And you have to touch base with this human that's causing this upset in you, okay? So she has to descend. She has to experience, okay? And it's interesting because this dissension is also necessary for ascension. Ascension is not linear. You have to travel, you have to master, right? And different lessons, different experiences aid in different aspects of your spiritual growth and your ascension work and your journey, okay? So this experience, this dissension into the human experience and everything that entails, including 15 energy and the discomfort that comes with the human ego and things like that. The lesson here is 7-8 energy. Those are the next 2 digits in this sequence. When we talk about 7 pulling in 8, and I always say if you're confused, this is a great tool, and this is in my book. In order to not confuse, let's say 8-7 with 7-8, they're different energies. They total the same thing, but the leader of the sequence is different. So when we talk about 7, opposition, foe, illness, whether mental or physical, right? Death, toxicity, it's the realm of darkness, okay? So I like to use typically the word darkness or opposition. It pretty much sums it all up. So essentially what 78 means is we're talking about that realm pulling in the realm of justice, the realm of balance. So this would be a perfect number to describe someone, let's say, who's mastered the art of moderation, right? Who's mastered the art of balance, who's been able to dive into their own darkness and restore that balance, right? So this could be the result of inner work, shadow work, right? Working the steps, whatever your method of inner work is, right? In order to achieve a state of balance. Okay. Now with this specifically, it's bigger than just Barbie. It impacts Barbie land or Barbie world, whatever it was called. The world, the land of the Barbies. Okay. It was impacting that entire setup, especially because Ken went with her when she descended to 6. And experienced it as well and came back oppositional and influenced Barbie Land in an oppositional way. But through these experiences, through all of the work that takes place and the connecting and things like that, which also relates to the total of the sequence, which is 21, right? Using your mindset, using your relational energies, okay? And bestowing that energy onto others, right? When we get into 777 energy, for example, that also totals 21. So you can always use that energy relatively, right? Using an awareness, especially an awareness of darkness, and using that to guide others in some way, shape, or form, okay? So when we talk about 7-8, because of this opposition had to take place. If there was no rising up of the Kens, growth doesn't happen. Growth doesn't happen in pure light. That's why a part of the ascension process you're going to notice with people, and I notice this happening with a lot of celebrities, and people just wait, oh, they're evil all of a sudden. Okay. I'm not here to judge their experience, but what I can recognize, right, is the ascension process. You have to exist in a place of darkness because certain awareness can only be gained there. The problem is if you remain in that darkness. The logical next step of ascension work is balancing, properly integrating that newfound darkness, that new awareness. Because that, on the other side of that, is true mastery and balance. being aware of both aspects of yourself, all aspects of yourself, and mastering them, honing them. And that's where the true work is done. So I get a little bit oppositional myself when I hear people demonizing people. Oh, we want you to be this way, and we want you to be, oh, God is only good, and God is pure light and love. It's like God is everything, first of all. But a lot of people don't want to hear that from me. Okay, so I digress. The total of the sequence is also 3. The number of Barbie, okay? Physical realm, material world. Barbie is a material girl. Okay, so when we talk about 3, it's the number of manifestation. And this is essentially manifestation work. All of these things being wielded into existence, all of these energies having to be balanced by working through these other frequencies. And in this case, they were quite oppositional, quite uncomfortable. But as you can see in the end of this movie, balance is restored because they're able to effectively work through that darkness and opposition. Have a great day, you guys.